Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my beginner's guide to Master Ninja on Ninja Gaiden Sigma. This is the start of Chapter 9, Hidden Underground. And now that we've killed the Bone Dragon, we can do a lovely sword attack to skip the drop all the way down to the bottom area, and we're going to be fighting a bunch of the crazy spirits that on Master Ninja, if they swarm you, you will die. It is hilarious how much damage they take off. It's not even real, it's unbelievable. So you want to be really careful with them. But there's a gold scarab there that you can pick up if you want to. And this room in here, I don't like at all. This is another example of, this is not difficult, it's just bullshit game design. Because they put you in a corridor with about 9 archers, and every time an archer hits you, it knocks you over. So it makes it extremely difficult to get forward. So what I do is, I think maybe I can use the Darby's charge attack to hit these guys from a distance, but all that ends up happening is I lock onto the wrong things. And you can go into first person mode and direct the Darby, but it just didn't work for me, so I decided to kind of skip this room. I use this side wall for cover to avoid the arrows, and then I just run past them without killing them, which I don't really like doing because I do enjoy killing enemies. But I don't enjoy killing enemies when there's this much bullshit involved. And it's just safer to completely skip it. So if you've got smoke bombs, I suggest you drop them. And then you just make a run for it. Because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because who thinks this is fun? I just don't understand who, in whose mind this is a cool idea to put this many bullshit enemies that just keep knocking you over. It's like Lost Planet on Extreme. There was nothing fun about constantly falling on your ass and getting staggered. It wasn't cool, it was just bullshit. And I tried to use the Darby here to try and get some vengeance, and it doesn't go quite through the wall as much as I would hope it would. And I think I'm going to give it up as a bad job in a moment, because they're just not worth fighting. You can use incendiary shurikens, you can do normal windmill shurikens, I think, but I just got impatient and decided to come back in with the tiger claw, and I keep getting hit, and I'm just like, why am I even doing this? Why am I even bothering? Like, why? I know why, it's because I'm stubborn and stuff pisses me off, and as soon as something pisses me off I want to beat it, but I just got to that point where like, fuck this, there is no point in even doing this, I'm not going to bother. And go to Muramasa, hand him over some scarabs, I get a lovely reward for doing so. I upgrade my Luna, that gets it to level 3, you can tell it's level 3 because it turns gold, and then I upgrade my dragon sword so I can do the better moves with it, hopefully. Is there anything I'm going to be purchasing? I don't think so. Oh, maybe? Maybe not. No, because this is one of the levels where you can farm essence on, so it's a fantastic opportunity to get as much money and much items and as much upgrades as you want. You don't have to, the game is more than possible to be beaten without that stuff, but for anybody that's not confident in themselves, you can do it, it is an option. There's your first save point, and there's not going to be another save point now until after this massive gauntlet, so this is actually one of the more challenging areas of the game. It's not challenging because it's hard, it's just challenging because it's long. And what's going to happen is, there's a bunch of fights that you can actually skip if you don't want to do them. And when I was first recording, I went down and I fought the fights all the time. Then I got to the Hydrocubus boss and died like an idiot. And it was one of those moments where it shouldn't have happened, but sometimes on Master Ninja you just get caught. It's just how it works. And I got screwed, so when I tried again, I decided to skip the fights, just do the objectives and got to the boss, and I managed to kill the boss with pretty much limited ease. But if you need essence and you want to fight more enemies, there is a bunch of the zombie enemies and a bunch of the rock imps, or whatever they're called, the lovely skateboarding imps as I call them. There's a bunch of them that will spawn in and you can fight to your heart's leisure. And just be aware, there is no save point from this moment on for pretty much the rest of this video. And if you die, which you can do if you get sloppy or if you're not concentrating, you'll be all the way back up here and you'll have to do it all again. So there's some cheeky scarabs and a cheeky life of the gods. You'll notice I'm going to go back and save just in case, because I don't have much faith in my ability to do things without dying on this game, especially when I was, you know, pretty young and virginal at it, because I can look back in retrospect now knowing that I'm a lot better than what I was when I played this section, but at the same time it's one of those things where even now, when you play, nobody can play these games perfectly. Even if they've got perfect runs on the YouTube, that's not how they play every single time. Because the games, it's just too random. It's just too much bullshit a lot of the times. This lesser so than the second one, because Ninja Gaiden 2, I'd almost forgotten how bad that game was with incendiary shurikens. And I played it the other day on Master Ninja, and I did the first few levels, and it was just like, Jesus Christ. I forgot how bad it was. It's like at every given moment you've got about 6 shurikens stabbed in you, and if you let them blow up, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. You've got to use the iframes, and this right now can work, but sometimes it doesn't, and it's a cheeky little technique of killing these archers up here, because they can be a big pain in the ass, but sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes they block it. So you need to be aware of that. I think the bow does work. I think the incendiary shurikens do work, but for whatever reason, sometimes they block the windmill shuriken. I don't know what it is. It might be just that it doesn't reach us. I just remember having a couple issues actually doing this. But the first one is dead. I just have to kill the one on the left. And I know you're thinking this is a complete boss strategy, and yes, it is. Could have shot them from a long distance, but they're far too accurate to be messing about with that, so I just prefer to do it this way, because I'm nice and cheesy. And there's also a cheeky way to run up the wall here and land on that platform, so you don't have to do the puzzle. But I only realised when I played through again on the original Xbox game. And I should have really tested that, but just a little note of a shortcut that you can take, that you're not going to see in my guide, but is possible to do if you know how to manipulate the jumping. But all this is 2 rooms back to back with really gay puzzles in them that you've got to do to open the central door which leads to a boss fight. And the boss is backed up by cats, so if you're not the biggest fan of cats, you're probably going to have a pretty rough time in this fight. But luckily enough, you can ignore them and focus on the boss and kill him as quickly as possible. But this is actually one of the levels that has one of the more famous bosses of this game, because you're going to be taking on Alma at the end of this level, and boy is she pretty tough. And she's only tough because her AI is clever and very cheap at times. If it wasn't for the fact that she blocks a lot of what you do, she'd probably be a really easy boss, and it's the reason why in the list of fixes that I mentioned in one of my older videos, that the flying swallow should knock her out of the air every time. If it did that, you would have a reliable strategy on how to beat her with relative ease, but at the same time, if they did that, she would not be the famous boss that she is, and I can kind of understand people who would miss the challenge, but at the same time, bosses should be exploitable. I mean, look at some of the stuff people are finding, when the games have been out a couple of years, when they're looping bosses that previously nobody thought you could do, and they're just, doing certain animations that just keep them where they want them to be, and just turn them into easy bosses, really. And it's things like that that I think are fascinating and interesting to discover, and when I see them, it makes me want to play the game. Like, I've been watching a guy called Kokoro Master's Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 playthrough that he's done. It's pretty much a guide because he's very good at it, and he does loops on bosses on that game, because if anybody doesn't know, they changed a lot of how the bosses work between Ninja Gaiden 2 and Sigma 2, and they gave them more life, and they changed some of the AIs a little bit with the way it looks, because when I went back and played some on Ninja Gaiden 2, they just seemed like completely different bosses. But on that game, a lot of the time the loops that I was watching didn't seem to work as well on Ninja Gaiden 2, which I found strange. Probably because there's enemies all the time on the fucking boss fights, and they decided to take them out and just make the boss harder, which I actually kind of prefer, but at the same time, I really like seeing how much damage I'm doing to the bosses when there's a lovely, massive slash of purple damage. Because I love life bars, I really do, and I love life bars where you can do loads of damage and you can watch it gradually phase down the bar, because I don't like it when it immediately vanishes. I like to see some, residual, kind of like, oh yeah, there's the damage, people. I like to see that. And it was one of the biggest surprises I got from from Devil May Cry 3 when I played it back, is just how little damage you do to the bosses. I could remember doing so much more damage on that game, but they've got big bars and they take a pounding. So, found that kind of surprising. But just keep swimming, keep picking up shit, keep doing the puzzles, and you'll notice that the fight spawned in that central room and I completely skipped it. That is one of those that you can do if you want to, but you don't have to. It's a pretty long fight and you can get a lot of essence from it if you chain ultimate techniques. And it's pretty fun to watch. Oh, excuse me. And there's Life of the Gods. This is something that you'd think that they'd tweaked, because it's not cool having to press it manually. It's really gay. Not a fan at all. But no idea what I'm doing here, staring at my items like a boss. Probably thinking about what's going to happen. I don't think you're going to get to see the boss fight on this video. I think it's going to be on the next one, because I have spread them out. But put your dragon sword on for it. Make sure you're using shurikens, because it's going to be the same flying swallow, shuriken cancel, and then coming down with the sword. It's the best strategy for it. You want to ignore the cats, and hopefully it'll go as smoothly as the next one's going to go for me. So thanks for watching, guys, and you take care now.